middle of shuffling things around in the workshop because it's become a bit of a dumping ground during the winter. And I thought, I don't know if I've done an introduction to this film. So here we go. Lanchester, a Lanchester Armoured Car from the First World War. This is part of what was supposed to be a regular First World War or Great War series of models, but I've failed because day-to-day life gets in the way. What I wanted to do, I did the kind of Mons machine gun guys. What I then wanted to follow up with is a Lanchester Armoured Car. Well, I'll explain the reason in a minute. So we're going back to October. This shows how bad things have been. Anyway, October, Western Front, Belgium. The Belgian defenders of the port of Antwerp are close to being totally cut off. It is agreed that what remains of the Belgian field army should be evacuated. The evacuation is completed by the 8th, and those troops who escape are landed between Zeebrugge and Ostend. Antwerp surrenders on the 10th. What was happening just before that is the Germans and the Anglo-French army were, or the Franco-English army, were doing that race to the sea where they were digging their trenches rapidly from sort of east and central France north, eventually reaching the North Sea. And as things approached, and as the Germans were sweeping across, Antwerp was getting cut off. It was apparent what was going to happen probably weeks before. And as usual, the British government vacillated. The Germans didn't. And remarkably, Winston Churchill, who was basically head of the Navy, without getting into silly titles, did what he kind of was famous for doing, and that is ignored everybody and did what he was going to do. Rather wisely, he sent a group of armoured cars with some, I think it was Marines, to bolster the morale of Antwerp. He rushed them up there and into that general area to show a British presence, which, I mean, he could be very rash and very impulsive, but that was an incredibly shrewd move. His instincts were right, and these armoured cars, or ones like them, belted kind of northwest, sorry, to get there and just beat the Germans to the punch. Obviously, the effects didn't last long, but these are the little vehicles and similar that stormed up. So I thought I'd do one, is what I'm trying to say. This is I think it's resin. Yes, it is. It's a resin casting, and I can't remember who did it. Anyway, hello, welcome. Here's another bit of chaos. This is the final object, so there's going to be no surprises. Anyway, there it is. Let's get on. It's worth saying that wasn't meant to be a history lesson, because if it was bad. What was meant to be happening is I'm trying to explain how and why I've come to make one of those little armoured cars. That's the word. Well, yet again I've lost some shots. This time I'll guarantee I deleted them. So that's my fault. Can't blame the computer. Either that or they're going to turn up somewhere where I've dumped them in the wrong place. But anyway, it is a, I was going to say a single casting, but there's obviously the turret. But anyway, so in effect it's a one-piece item, and all I'm doing is painting it. I haven't built anything. And I've painted it a very pale bluey grey. I hope that comes over well, because it's a Royal Navy vehicle, actually. Churchill being, you know, head of the Navy. So that's where we're up to at this point. It's painted. So we missed out on a lot of fairly uninteresting stuff, just layering of colours. or shades really. I want to keep it fairly monochrome virtually, and therefore we're up to that point. There's things like weathering on the spoked wheels. Because the casting is solid, you can't get in between the spokes. It's going to have to respond to that. So I've done a fair amount of weathering on that area, and a little bit of weathering all round at this point. And in effect, you know, after a bit of slapping the paint on, we're nearly there. Right. Painted and mostly weathered. I've got the grey, the right one, but it just looks like off-white to me, and don't want to go too crazy on the weathering, but I do want the wheels to look mucky, and I've based them on what my bike was like as a kid when I went scrambling in the chalk pits. Chalk pits wasn't all chalk, there was a lot of clay and a lot of sand. So I've tried to do that. I'm not sure if I'm completely satisfied, but with the chalk pit style wheels, but you kind of get the gist. I think there might be a little bit more work to be done on that. It used to get absolutely packed with mud, chalky mud. It's the same mud that goes through Belgium, parts of Holland, and caused the French a lot of problems at the Battle of Agincourt. It absolutely clings to you. I wanted to try and capture that. Obviously a lot of it gets flung off on the wheels, but it used to cake up in the spokes. So that's the aim. We will think that one over a little more. Yeah, tricky, but it's a lovely, sturdy little model. Members of the family have thrown it to the ground several times and it bounces back. Always tricky painting things that come as in one piece, or obviously in this case two pieces, but you know, you can't get around the back of things. But all in all, it's kind of where I imagined it would be. So the next step, what a concept. Right, they're on. They're okay. I'm not going to do the dots. There are some differences. Oops, there are some differences between this model and the picture I just showed you. I've looked at loads of pictures, photographs, diagrams, illustrations, and this is what I'm going for. Let me find a pointer. In some, there's either this box or another box there, and a small registration number. That number is matched. Ah, where's me letter A gone? I bet it's stuck to my fingers somewhere. I'll come back to that. Like that. But there are others where there's nothing there, and this appears to be that version. I noticed in that illustration there's a shovel as well. So this is slightly different to that illustration, and I'm happy to not have registration numbers there, because it looks a bit busy, to be quite honest, on something this small. I've gone for a slightly different registration number to anything I've seen, because I'll probably get done for copyright. You know how it is these days. I'll go and find another letter A. And here we have it done, with a broken church behind it. I think to go any further would be overkill on something this small. So I feel like we're there. a little bit of weathering on the letters, a lot on the other side, and a lot at the front for obvious reasons, and a lot at the back over the lettering. Sort of faded, kind of filth airbrushing, I suppose. I've been out here a little bit, and look what's happened. Because it's a sunny day, the letters have started to peel. Oh well, never mind. And that little bit of muck looks a bit flat out in the daylight. I say never mind. You know what I'm going to have to do? I'm going to go back and I'm going to put new ones on. Take about 20 minutes again. But anyway, we can see, we get the gist, we know what we're dealing with. So, it is a nice and a very of its time vehicle. I'm impressed they've managed to get such fine detail on something like this. I really am. Well done, everybody involved. Let's just give ourselves a little bit more of a, there we go, a little bit more of a background. Yeah, it's very nice. It was enjoyable to paint, slightly tricky to get the lettering on, the markings, but all in all, great stuff. The turret, whether I like it or not, moves. Lovely little thing. So there is our Lanchester Armoured Car. Lanchester always makes me think of the Bride of Frankenstein because of Elsa Lanchester. What more can you say? Nice little vehicle. So we're back up and running with the First World War stuff, and there should be more to follow, all being well. Right, let's do something else. Thank you for watching. See you again soon. I don't feel I was very clear there. The last shot was outside. It's very sunny and remarkably warm. Surprisingly warm for this time of year. And I just had that sitting with the sun beating down on that side for about 40 minutes while I was getting other stuff and, you know, problems get in the way. And came back and that had peeled. And it's getting worse. Maybe a little splodge of fix might do it. You never know. Anyway, never get to the end of a film, do I, in one go? So once again, thank you for watching. See you again soon. If anything else surprising happens on this one, I'll let you know. So, cheers folks.